start with a story about cliff jumping with my.
More than a small business, you're blowing stuff up for fun. Selling out humongous stuff of coins as fast as you can make them. Which is why we built a smart marketing platform designed to keep up with your growing success. MailChimp, built for growing businesses.
I'm crazy.
Wings. Frigidaire's range lets you air fry right in your oven. It's all the flavor, none of the guilt.
So good.
That's using your Frigidaire.
When we most want to turn around, that we must keep going. When all we see is darkness, that we must have faith in the light. It's when we feel most vulnerable that we must become unshakable. See, there's a misconception that strength implies a total absence of weakness or doubt, that courage means never feeling fear or uncertainty, when in reality these things are human. They've been wired into us. As Ernest Becker has said, we are simultaneously worms and gods. Worms in that, sure, we're animals, flesh and bone, unable to avoid death or misfortune or tragedy in life. But most importantly, gods, in that we have the divine ability to transcend these inevitable circumstances, to find hope in this seemingly hopeless, to see opportunity in life's obstacles and growth when we fall, to take the meaningless and give it meaning. And one of the most important things I've learned is that when life knocks me down, pushes me to my limits, it's not some indication that I walked the wrong path. It's no referendum on who I am. No, it's a hand extended offering the chance for me to be more than I've ever been. And in a world of delusion and distraction, it's a reminder that we have the capacity to turn life's hardship into a better tomorrow. The difference between fact or fiction, possible or impossible, success or failure, is the decision to get up when life knocks us down. This world, it's not easy. It tests us, challenges us. It makes us think we are but a cog in the wheel of life. It can be tough. But your weapon, your strength, is knowing that you are tougher. And look, I know that adversity hurts, but I also know that you're capable. You are strong enough to turn that struggle into something meaningful. Where most would turn back, you have it in you to take one step forward. Let the walls crash down. The skies open up and the ground shake. See, this is minor detail in your world. Transcend the average, the earthly constraints and the mental limitation. Remember who you are, why you started. Remember that when your surroundings attempt to pull you back down to earth, you have no interest in the narratives they offer. You
worship thee.
Are unshakable.
I worship thee. I humbly give myself to you, for I am your son, and nothing is done without the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. For my life belongs to him. I am his son. I am the entire Son of God, the all glory of the resurrection of my faults and the resurrection of my triumph.
Introducing the God's power to
for God gives us tests, gives us roadblocks to become better Christians, or become better sinners. You can't do both. Love God with all your heart. Everything is going to be happening. Every day we have on this earth is a blessing. Every minute, every second, every hour, every thought, every
Flex.
voice,
It's
every
what's
breath
next.
of air, you looking at the TV, whatever shows
I
you
think
like,
I
the
thought
food
of
you
Jack
enjoy,
driving makes Dad feel
everything that you
anxious.
have abundantly
It's
on
sweaty,
this earth
but it doesn't
has been
have
given to you by
Like
the grace of
360's
God to
driving
enjoy the
reports
fruits
help
of
that I
life
stay cool.
abundantly. Enjoy life.
Life 360.
Life. Oh, glory be to God.
Life is the manifestation of stories. Stories we tell ourselves about the world and our place
For I'm not perfect.
rules
I'm far
that we
from it.
construct
I
and
am
we
a sinner.
respect. We
I confess my sins to the Lord God. Forgive me of all the sins
the
I've committed.
outcomes we
Cleanse
get. They become our
Free me
reality.
of this evilness of this earth.
Because to establish a parameter
Watch over
means
me.
at some point there's a line that we don't cross, right? And there are obvious lines that we
People
point
see
to and
me
we say no
in
thanks.
heaven.
For example, our values, right? I won't do X because, well, it will hurt someone I
My
love.
family.
Or legal parameters. I won't do Y
To be next to
because I know
Father.
the repercussions are too much. It's not in my self-interest.
Until then,
And these are obvious. These are talked about. We're aware of these
I'm
stuff.
gonna ask the humble that maybe God.
But I want to talk about a
Ask Lord
different
God
set
if
of
I can somehow prove
the
you to
stories
be a
we're
better
writing
man.
without realizing we're doing
Maybe
it. How we think we're running a sprint,
I can
but have
bless
no
this
idea
soul.
that there's heavy weight on our shoulders holding us down, and you can't take that weight off if you don't know it's there.
Until then, I will pursue
And this all
God.
came to me a few months
Confess
ago. I was in
God,
LA for the
Lord and
weekend, having lunch with some incredible
That's right, now
entrepreneurs
worship
who've
God.
done some amazing things. And one of them sold a dating app for hundreds of millions of dollars, another one a healthcare company, another one had a very successful food distributing business, and I'm sitting there kind of blown away. And my priority was to listen, not run my mouth or fabricate or but to simply observe. I listened to Alex Meyer, who created the team, talk about suffering. He came to the US and he worked his way up. And it took me about 3 months to me, it couldn't be they don't look at us how I am. See, the story I told revolved around my parameters. I pushed myself, I worked hard, but I was the life interest allowed. Here's how things are. Okay, how can I stretch that? But that's like repainting or adding on to a house that's been built, right? There's only so much flexibility, so much you can do. These guys are talking like little kids on Christmas. I'm talking about life like talking about opportunity like how it would be there's no smile and anticipation and self-belief. What can I do? Created Mentorbox, and he loves me. And so it becomes his next entrepreneurial venture. And every thought seems to revolve around him. How can he take something he loves and share it with the world? His imagination is now driving his thought process, which drives him. Not parameters, not someone else's reality. See, I left the table with this feeling of really happy. It's like someone tapped me on the shoulder and reminded me of the freedom contained in every single step. But not flexibility, but freedom. Like a weight has been lifted off of my shoulders. Who cares if you lose? Who cares? That's part of this game we're playing. A game where reality isn't an obligation to be lived, it's an opportunity to be explored. It's not about what you don't have. It's being grateful for everything that brought you here. Because right now, to enjoy it, to let imagination drive every step. Because the difference is some of us build because we don't want to lose, we don't want to succumb to fear and not meeting our potential, right? We fear being inadequate, falling short. We see obstacles. Some of us, we build to capture the beauty, the excitement. That makes the difference. And look, I'm not presenting you empirical data. I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to bet that years from now, looking back, that simple understanding will have played a substantial role in whatever comes next. The rules changed, and so did the path. Let's not become so focused on each footstep that we lose sight of where they're collectively taking us. What are you building? Why are you here? To play by someone else's rules or to transform yourself and by default the world around you? See, reality is fluid, it's malleable, and the beauty is in that process of creating a believing the harbor has infinite possibility, unlimited potential, and that gives it its power. There's no right turn or wrong turn. The only way to lose is to stand still, to think that horizon in the distance is too far or not for you. See, a harbor is not a stopping point, it's a beginning. So take control over that world, push it, test it, see what it has to offer, throw your curiosities against the wall, see what ignites your soul, test the universe because life, it rewards the bold. Those courageous enough to step outside their front door and not follow, but design. Those who know things are the way they are simply because others before them had the courage to make it so. Well, now it's your turn. You defeated the 1 in 400 trillion odds against the world. You navigated through your low points. You've done enough to get to this very moment, this instant, where the mistakes that brought you here will become the wisdom that leads you forward, that takes you to places you never thought, and where exactly that is to you. I often ask myself, what differentiates Sure, life is complex. There are a lot of moving parts to understand. But I think this element is simple. Those who build things in life need to not only see a reality that hasn't yet materialized, but they also understand that in a world of to believe in yes, to believe in their ability to finish lines that no one else sees. They need without that discomfort. Or as Nietzsche put it, one must still have chaos.
With moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, your plans can change at any time. Your head wants to do one thing, but you're
distressed by anything external. The pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your essence. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Whatever happens to you, So when trouble comes, think of yourself as the wrestler whom God has prepared with toughness. For what purpose? To turn you into a mighty. This is going to be a step to accomplish. Keep at it. As a blazing fire takes whatever you throw at
I
it
need to hear
and
that.
makes it light.
Keep at it. Status quo. Keep at it. As long as it fire takes whatever you know. And it's light.
So you were born to serve instead of doing things and experiencing them. Don't you see the fire, the birds, the ants, the spiders and bees going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best they can? And you're not willing to do your job as a human being. Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands? Nothing has such power to broaden the mind as the ability to investigate systematically and truly all that comes under thy observation in life. If it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, say it. When God unavoidable reverse at once to yourself and don't lose the rhythm more than you expect. You'll have a better grasp of harmony if you keep going back to it. The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. Confine yourself to the present. Your views are much blacker and more superficial. Persistence and lack of self-control. Persist and resist. It's time you realize that you have something in you more powerful and miraculous than the things that affect you and make you dance like a puppet. To live happy is an innate power of the soul. Take the shortest route, the one that nature has, to speak and act in the simplest way. Do that, and be free of pain and stress, free of all calculation and pretension. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. The only wealth which you will keep forever is the wealth you have given away. As if you had died and your life had extended only to this present moment. Use the surface that is left to you, and live from this time onward according to nature. It's time that you realize that you have something in you more powerful and miraculous than the things that affect you and make you dance like a puppet. Nothing happens to anyone that he cannot endure. Even the smallest thing should be done with reference to an end. Keep reminding yourself of the way things are connected, of their relatedness. All things are implicated in one another and in sympathy with each other. This event is the consequence of some other one. Things push and pull on each other and breathe together and are one. The universal order and the personal order are nothing but expressions and manifestations of a common underlying principle. Does not make a person work in himself, neither does it make his life better, nor does it harm him without all it is.
There you go.
Hi, good morning. My name is Gladys, and I'm one of the nurses calling from the GI lab here at UC Davis.
Yes.
May I please speak with Rhonda Williams?
Yeah, it's him. How you doing?
Hi, Mr. Williams. Good. How are you?
I'm okay.
Do you have a couple minutes to go over some pre-procedure instructions for your upcoming upper endoscopy?
Yeah, it's appointment at 2:30, right?
It's actually, this one is scheduled for Wednesday, November 24th.
No, I'm talking about the video check. It's supposed to be at 2:30.
Someday, the things that you currently don't understand will make sense. Someday, the big things you're dealing with won't seem so big anymore. Someday, the doubts you have about yourself yourself will be revealed as false. Someday you'll see that the things you worry about didn't matter at all. Someday you'll see that the road before you wasn't something you had to walk flawlessly, but rather something you had to trust and believe in. Someday you'll look in the mirror and see that you had it in you the entire time, that there was nothing you needed or should have been hoping for. Yeah, someday. Someday that will all be true. But what about some days from the past? I remember years ago thinking someday I would venture out into the world. Someday I'd speak my mind. Someday I would start my own business. I would surround myself with people who believed in what I believed. Someday I'd make a little more money, have a little more time to do what I love. Someday I'd have all that. And as I look around, I realize it looks a lot like someday. But guess what? As we grow, so do our some days. It's a chase that never ends. There's always something more. There's always something bigger and better. And the problem is not the ambition. The problem is forgetting that in so many ways, you've dreamt of being where you stand right now. You have arrived. You're not the same person that 10 years ago was throwing some days out into the universe. No, you have grown. You have learned. You have evolved. Why does this matter? It matters because without acknowledging how far you've come, you cannot acquire the strength needed to go where you must go. When you don't feel good enough, it's often because you haven't looked over your shoulder and opened your eyes. The evidence is right there. It's hiding in plain sight. There's proof that you've been there, that you faced demons and conquered them, endured your battles and overcame. You did that. And at one point not that long ago, you couldn't say that you had. You weren't yet that person, but things are different now. What you have today was once only that hopeful someday. It was a fleeting thought. It had no merit and no value, yet you brought it to life. Look what you've done. Understand how far you've come, how you ran when you could, you walked when it was possible, you crawled when you had to, and continued on to arrive at a someday that is right now. You, my friend, are a maker of things unseen, an architect of tomorrows and somedays, so don't you dare, don't you ever entertain the delusion that this gift suddenly stops now. Suddenly the burden is too much. The mountain is too tall. No, what you do is overcome. That is who you are. You've done it for you. You've done it for the ones you love, and in some cases, the ones who didn't even understand, but you kept going. Marching through the fires of hell to turn some days into right nows. And I get that the road before you is uncertain. There's no way to know exactly how life will unfold. But that's besides the point. A bird can't predict every gust of wind it's going to encounter. It spreads its wings, takes off, and adapts because it can, because it always has, because that's what it does. I'm not advocating that you should have all the answers. No, I'm suggesting that you trust yourself to find them, to move forward into the haze that surrounds you, to make sense of the seemingly illogical, bring about reality from the make-believe. Someday, you will have what you're aiming for. But here's to never letting a today go by without realizing that you are always living out a someday from your past. You are always arriving and leaving simultaneously. The accomplished and the student, crossing the finish line and on the starting block with another race around the corner, another chance to stretch your legs and reach for the heavens. If you ever forget that, I ask that you find it within yourself to look over your shoulder, to remember what you once asked for, and to appreciate the journey that you have undertaken. You did that. Now onward you go. You have more some days to bring to life. Show them who you are. As Emerson said, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. It is nothing short of courage to walk into that dark cave that is your potential, to become a pioneer of uncharted worlds in search of who you might become. It is courage to leave what will be accepted for an idea that will certainly be misunderstood. At least initially. It means you're playing by new rules using new metrics. Not the rubric that's already been handed out. No, anything but that. And that is the fundamental difference between those who create and those who react. Those who fight to discover who they are, and those who hide behind the mask of acceptance. It's courage. See, anyone can criticize. Anyone can condemn or tear down. But who's willing to run the gauntlet? Who's willing to subject themselves to that hell? Who wants something better so bad that they trade comfort and the reassurance of now for a life to ultimately be proud of? To be excited when the sun comes through the window and they jump out of bed in the morning. Your emotions do our best to understand them, to navigate through them. But that particular question in my mind will always be, do you have the courage to show them who you are? To make that reflect back their wishes and their reality like a mirror, but create your own. Harness it, carry it up the mountain like a torch through the night. And what I've come to understand is that knowing simply is not enough. Understanding is not enough. Replicating is not enough. What these things lack is you. And if I had to best represent this understanding, it would be like music a musician, a technically sound musician can play. Well, he can understand and recite. An expert in the craft, well, she can teach. But it's only someone who injects their authentic self into these abilities that can touch the hearts of people around them, change their lives, fill minds with wonder and awe. Because when you take a step back and really see what's going on, the songs that are sung are because they are the most technical or most advanced, because they follow the rules. No, we sing them because they meant something when we heard them. Their authors had the courage to move a step beyond understanding and into the vulnerability that is creation. It is a microcosm of life. And in a world where comfort is not only pushed upon us, but it's the essence of what makes us human, saying no, well, it feels like running a river. When you blend in, you can't fight. When you blend in, you rarely lose. When you blend in, there is no risk. But when you blend in, there is no you. And I'm not suggesting you missed the mark or you lost the battle. I'm suggesting that every once in a while, we need to be reminded that the journey has not even begun. That down the road, you'll see those people around you. They weren't so much concerned about you as they were themselves. That everyone is scared, everyone is unsure, no one knows or has the answers. But man, to see that, to feel that, and move forward in any way, you know you're worthy of a tomorrow greater than today. That is a courage rarely understood. And Emerson gives us, with that message, everything we need. The wisdom to know there's more, and most importantly, the courage to show yourself and the world who you are. You're not the same person you were. It's an important thing to understand. Progress. We often fall into the habit we want to be looking down that road. But something that differentiated the chapters in my life from stress and inadequacy and just not feeling like enough versus being content but understanding this is the process. It's the realization that you have to turn around, you have to look behind you, and you have to say, I've come further than I thought. I'm not the same person I was last year. There are things I'm doing now that I couldn't do in certain ways that I never thought before. And what this does is it helps life is an evolution. And that you are exactly where you need to be for whatever journey you are on. Right? In today's world of keeping up with the Joneses or Instagram, I think social media is incredibly value everything is always right from there. It's a problem when you're looking around you and seeing and highlighting things that you're not. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not that, I wish I was, but I'm not. Right? For a few reasons. One, because that stuff often is a highlight reel. It's not reflective of reality. And two, it's not your journey. It has nothing to do with where you're going. And it creates this false sense of control. Like, I'm not really sure. No, you're exactly It's counterproductive. It goes against everything you are. It goes against everything. Right? It's like you exert yourself with exhaust energy. What do you mean there's no feedback? Right? And the idea of showing up and showing up and showing up and showing up and getting very little back. It can be exhausting. That's why it's so important to remember that you are evolving and that you have evolved. You are a combination of all these beautiful steps you've taken. And let me tell you something. Sometimes the most important thing you can do is simply not that. It's not some magic solution. It's not to hit a home run. No, sometimes it's simply carrying on when most people wouldn't. And if you can look back and you see a sample size, you see a day one and a starting point, you've done the incredible. You're in the minority. You've continued on into an unknown that scares most people to death. Doesn't mean there's not more to do. Doesn't mean you shouldn't continue evolving. But it means you're the product of courage. That those little yeses mean something. And so I have people reach out all the time, I'm down. I don't feel like myself. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I've lost my why. Hey, I get it. We all do. Literally every single human being has felt like that. It's not reflective of you or reality. The reality is, when you've forgotten your why, you've forgotten how far you've come. In relation to yourself. And it's a feeling that you can write that down with a small win. It's amazing how many things in life, they feel so big when we're looking at that mountaintop, when we're looking at the solution. They feel larger than life. And that's what feelings want. That's what intimidates. It's like, look at what it is. I'm not a fraction of that. You don't need to be that. You need to take one little step forward. And as I say all the time, anyone can take one little step forward. Anyone can do it. Anyone can create a spark of momentum. That momentum over time accumulates to a meaningful effect. So when you feel like that, remember, you're asking too much of yourself. Not in the big picture today, right now. Because what you need to do right now is show up. That's it. You need to make one little decision and start a pattern that can accumulate. Create a snowball that will become an avalanche. That's your job. When you keep your mind in the moment, you open all these doors that would otherwise have been shut. No one can leap a mountain and no one can climb a rock. What's your rock today? What's your one thing today? Something made from little nothing, right? What's your little nothing? What are you going to transform? You don't have to be Bezos tomorrow. Maybe you make a business plan today. Maybe you make a call today, this afternoon, this morning, whenever. But it's compartmentalizing that. You have so much control over your life when you realize what's actually required. And that's why, again, going back to that point, you're not the same person you were yesterday. All those little decisions, all those little emails, all those times you stepped outside, all those times you made the call, created the website, networked, all those things you did brought you to this moment. Every time you ran, every time you worked out, every time you studied, took a course, took a class, took a test, they all comprise you in this current moment. They mean something. But we don't look around and say, wow, look at all the things I've done. No, we look out and say, look what I'm missing, look what I'm lacking. You're not lacking anything except a single step forward. The realization that all you have to do is move one step. And that simple understanding completely transformed my life. And I spent the first 3-4 years as a creator, as a business owner, just in this feeling of scarcity. Like, look at all the things I don't have. To the point where as I'm building, I don't even realize I'm building. I never look back. I never look around. I never appreciate life as it is. That's the recipe for disaster, because there will always be more to build. Always. It doesn't matter how far you've come or what you're doing. But when I learned to acknowledge, hey, everything that you've done has brought you here, appreciate it. Relish in the moment. And then decide where you want to go next. It's a journey. It's not that serious. Life is not that serious. I tell my friend Zach all the time, life should emulate his son walking around the living room, poking things, prodding things, pulling blankets off the couch and making tents. Like, it's an experiment. It's not a test. And you're well equipped to move any direction you want to move. You've come this far, and you can continue down that road. So that's my message to you. It's a simple but crucial. Appreciate how far you've come, and understand that where you're going requires not some magic formula, but a single step forward and a commitment down the road that you choose to go down. That will create transformation. That will bring about a life that you've never had before. Subtly, right? Without even realizing. Little by little. Compounding into the beauty that we are equipped to capture, to bring in. It's time. The world will not stop spinning. The clock won't stop ticking. Days won't stop slipping by. It's time. Things won't suddenly get easier. The difficulty does not remove itself. The path does not narrow. It's time. Perfect moment, it doesn't exist. Flawless beginning is fiction. The stars were never aligned for you. It's time.
Platinum multivitamins, daily vitamins.
Not tomorrow, not someday down the road, but this very second. So you don't need all the answers. You don't need to know or be sure or be armed with guarantees. Your job, your only requirement is to begin. It's time to trade fear for opportunity. Someday for right now. It's time to stop thinking small, stop seeing what you want as a reach, to stop looking at success as a stranger. It's time to sit down and convince yourself that what you want can be accomplished when it's as real as the space in front of you, when it's as probable as the completion of a single step. It will happen because it has to. At some point, you have to see that you're not simply playing conservatively. You're not being a perfectionist. It's not about being okay with where you are. No, if we're going to get anywhere, let's be truthful. Let's call it what it is. These things, these ideas, these excuses are a derivative of fear. The problem with possibility is that it's incredibly hard to quantify. Technically, if you've never had it, you've never lost it. And that is how we rationalize staying where we are. That's why we compartmentalize the things we want most as dreams. But for a second, let's be bigger. Let's start from the premise that what life can provide or become is limitless. It is truly infinite. And when you sit on an idea or you refuse to begin, you are in fact losing. Every single thing around you, everything. At one point, it began. At one point, someone summoned the courage to reach out and take what's in front of you. Maybe you do the same. Maybe you take that step. Maybe the first few times go terribly wrong. Maybe it's terrifying. Maybe you find out who has your back, who your real friends are, and maybe those truths scare you. But guess what? Guess what those steps turn into? Confidence, amplified purpose, and most importantly, more steps. You get to see right in front of you as your demons diminish, evaporate. The higher you climb, the better the view, the longer the road, the greater the experience. I would rather fall 1,000 times and continuously get back up stronger than be someone who looks at the world through a window like it's some fairy tale. Because at the end of the day, sure, they have no scratches, scrapes, or bruises, but I have no limits, and I'd make that trade any day. It is time to stop separating what you want from what you have and take that step forward. It's time to go get it. No one is stopping you. Nothing is stopping you. And in fact, if you choose to be, you are unstoppable. So take a look in the mirror, lace up your shoes, open the door, and begin. It's time. There's a saying that will always be true. It will be true on your best days, on your worst. It will be true after you're hurt, and it will be true after you're hurt. It will be true when you have momentum, and it will be true when you're down on your luck, doing everything in your power to create momentum. That saying is your future. Might not seem like it. Okay, my future starts now. I know that. Everyone knows it. Well, if that's true, if everyone does in fact know that, why do we spend so much time stuck, reliving our past, unable to break free? Why do we remain terrified to change? Why do we feel such a connection to who we were, how others saw us? Why must we remain loyal to the character we've been playing in our mental autobiographies? See, here's the thing about the past and the future. One is can't be changed, and the other is waiting for you to tell it what it is. One is expired time, one is planned to be determined. And it's interesting how we continue to conflate the two.
Oh, you ready to go out?
Epictetus has said that
Oh.
the more things we value outside of our control, the less control we have. Well, I'm going to be the messenger here, relaying the precious truth that yesterday is in fact out of our control. What can be controlled is where we go. The next. Human today is not your failure. It's where you take those lessons. It's not your mistakes. But it's what the stronger you now endure because of it. It's not the dreams you let slip away, but where your pursuit is you now. And yeah, yes, they certainly can figure out as all information does. There's value that you have to assess. The guide you is not you. And that difference is astronomical. There's a question about the world that plays in our lives. That has to be something, right? Your perspective in many ways, your story, the life of people that you do, contributed to your understanding of the world that will always be a part of it. And I believe that. But I also believe that book simply sets the stage for the next one without controlling its direction. So does every day that has led you up to now. Life gives us the tools to grow, learn, and shed that which does not coincide with what's important. Your failures are not you, but they are precious and they serve you for what you like to do. You can experience something and not be that thing. As Kierkegaard says, if you label me, you negate me. If you proclaim me to be at peace, you're essentially dealing with a possibility that is the future. It actually has nothing to do with what I can become. And so taking it a step further, never mind being labeled like someone else. How do you label yourself and see it as anything but self-sabotage? See, you're never defined by your past, but always learning. It's not who you are. It's the cheap way to what you can be. Without that winding road of misfortune and mistakes, the incredible expansion you long for doesn't materialize. Imagine if everyone who ever felt down, felt like a loser, who ever lost hope. Imagine if they looked at the mirror and said, okay, this is who I am now. There would be no triumph in the world. Because anything meaningful requires a resiliency to map our way from the hell that was our darkest moment so it will become our proudest moments. Destiny means that you separate the finest from the imperfect. What you used to call yourself has carried you to move towards the horizon. But what you used to call yourself is also as irrelevant now as those seconds that you watch. Seconds that maybe you're not. Seconds that perhaps seconds that gave you a glimpse of what's possible, unveiled the happiest of times for all of us. In its own unique way, it brought value, but none of it was your future. Because after that beautiful, all-powerful sentence, your future begins now. Your destiny is awaiting its marching orders, and all you have to decide as you stand today is where that ship will sail.
Gives your hair the volume and shine no shampoo can. Come get your ring filled with 250 grand and other great products. Oh, yeah.
apologizing for who you are, what you believe, and how you feel you are. Stop apologizing for anything that you want, they push you to be. Stop apologizing for being different, unusual, or unique. There's a second word. If you are lucky enough to be different, don't ever change. Embrace that. Hold it. Apologizing for taking a path less traveled, for breaking away from the path. It's not an insufficiency. It doesn't mean you shouldn't go there. It means you have the courage to be yourself in a world trying to make you someone else. Stop apologizing for words that don't align with someone else's ideology or worldview. God isn't to appease or conform. It's full of a bunch of fire in you, and you just to brighten the world around you. Stop apologizing for it's okay to not be content where you are. It's okay to want to grow, to become more. For you, planting them in the ground, why waste the opportunity beyond the horizon of your current existence? See, having the spirit of your convictions is like unlocking your arbiters, they're not protectors of truth. Remember that. Remember that no one knows better than you what's best for you. That's why there's power in intuition, in following your beliefs, your strengths, in doing what makes you happy, relentlessly pursuing what makes you feel alive. Think about dreams, ideas, potential. They're always numerous until they're not. See, everything is illusion until it exists. So protect it. Don't bow down to the pressures of now simply because you have not yet built tomorrow. You will. If you want it, you will. Some methods that are incredibly simple, and this, my friends, is one of them. You have everything you need to become who you want to be. Right as you listen to this in real time, you don't need approval or permission or acceptance. You don't need to belong or be told it's normal. You simply need to start. To know that you will pick yourself up when you fall and keep going. Not apologize, but continue placing one foot in front of the other. Now look externally for a will to carry on. That only exists within you. So the second you begin rewriting the rules, changing the game, you put yourself in position to emerge victorious. Of all life's lessons,